They thought she was just the Armory Clerk, the one who checked out rifles and counted ammunition. Until the day someone handed her a Barrett .50 and said, "Show us how it's done." One shot, 2.8 miles. The entire range went silent. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? If this story resonates with you, consider subscribing for more tales of unrecognized heroes. The morning sun cast long shadows across Fort Carson's advanced marksmanship facility when Staff Sergeant Luna Delacroix made her way to the armory. For 8 years, she had walked this same path, carrying keys that unlocked weapons worth millions of dollars, maintaining inventory that most Marines took for granted. Her uniform bore simple logistics insignia: no combat patches, no sniper badges, nothing suggesting capabilities beyond counting ammunition and checking serial numbers. The armory was a concrete fortress lined with precision rifles that Luna knew by heart. Every Barrett M82, every scope, every piece of specialized equipment had passed through her hands countless times. She maintained them better than most operators maintained their personal weapons, yet remained invisible behind the checkout counter. At 0800 hours, Gunnery Sergeant Rick Vega arrived with his advanced sniper team. 8 Marines, each with proven combat experience, each carrying the quiet confidence of professionals who had made shots that mattered under pressure. They were preparing for deployment to Afghanistan, where precision at extreme range could mean the difference between mission success and catastrophic failure. "Morning, Luna," Vega said, approaching the checkout window. "We need the Barrett systems for long-range work today. Going to see who can push the 2 800-meter envelope." Luna nodded, consulting her inventory system. All 8 Barrett M82s available, match-grade ammunition, Leupold Mark 8 scopes. You'll want the wind meters and atmospheric stations too. "Already thinking ahead," Vega grinned. "That's why you're the best armorer on base." Behind Vega, his Marines waited with easy camaraderie. Sergeant Tom Nakamura, the team's primary spotter, reviewed atmospheric data on his tablet. Corporal Danny Cruz checked his shooting notebook filled with data from previous sessions. These were serious professionals, not weekend warriors playing with expensive toys. Luna methodically retrieved the requested weapons, performing inspections that regulations required, but with attention to detail that went beyond paperwork. Each Barrett was examined for function, cleanliness, and proper scope mounting. She checked 0 settings, verified trigger pull weights, and ensured every component met exacting standards for precision work at extreme distances. "You know these rifles better than we do," observed Lance Corporal Mike Torres, watching Luna work. "Ever think about actually shooting them instead of just checking them out?" "Different skill sets," replied Nakamura. "Luna keeps them running. We make them sing at distance." Luna continued her inspections without comment, though her handling showed familiarity that went beyond administrative necessity. Her scope adjustments were precise, her trigger mechanism examinations thorough, her weapon condition assessments comprehensive. The team moved to the range, where targets were positioned at distances from 1,000 to 2,800 meters. The furthest target was barely visible even through powerful optics, representing a challenge that pushed absolute limits of equipment and human capability. At that range, missed calculations could result in bullets landing dozens of feet from intended targets. The session began methodically. At 1,000 meters, all 8 Marines connected consistently. Their training showed in smooth bolt manipulation, steady shooting positions, and systematic approaches to reading environmental conditions. At 1,500 meters, performance remained strong, though wind drift began affecting point of impact in ways requiring constant adjustment. By 2,000 meters, only 4 Marines were connecting with reasonable consistency. Wind conditions at Fort Carson were challenging. Unpredictable gusts, thermal currents from heated concrete, and atmospheric pressure variations that changed throughout the morning. These factors, negligible at shorter ranges, became exponentially significant as distance increased. "Let's try the 2 800-meter target," Vega announced. "This is where we separate good shooters from great ones." The target at 2,800 meters was at the extreme edge of what Barrett M82 could reasonably engage. At that distance, bullet flight time exceeded 4 seconds, environmental factors multiplied geometrically, and even minor equipment variations became significant variables in accuracy equations. Sergeant Nakamura took the first attempt, settling behind his Barrett with practiced efficiency. His spotter called wind conditions, range corrections, and atmospheric readings based on precision instruments. The shot broke cleanly, the massive rifle's report echoing across the desert range. "Miss, right edge," called the ranged officer through binoculars. "Close, but no impact." Corporal Cruz tried next, making adjustments based on Nakamura's near miss. His bullet also failed to connect, falling victim to wind conditions that had shifted in seconds between firing and impact. 3 more attempts by different team members produced similar results, technically competent shooting that nonetheless failed to solve the puzzle of extreme range precision. After 90 minutes of attempts, the 2 800-meter target remained unmarked. The Marines had pushed their skills to the limit, demonstrating capabilities that would serve them well in combat, but the extreme range challenge remained unconquered. "Maybe 2,800 is beyond practical limits," Cruz suggested, frustration evident in his voice. "Someone, somewhere, has made shots at this distance," Vega replied. "We just haven't figured out the combination of factors that makes it possible." The team began packing equipment, preparing to return weapons to the armory. Their morning had been productive in training terms, but failure to connect at maximum range left them with questions about practical limits of their capabilities. At the armory counter, Luna began her standard checkout procedure, inspecting returned weapons and updating inventory records. Each Barrett was examined for condition, cleaned if necessary, and returned to its designated storage position. The routine was familiar, performed thousands of times, yet she approached it with consistent attention to detail. "Tough morning?" Luna asked, noting expressions on several faces. "That 2 800-meter target is proving impossible," Torres replied. "We tried different ammunition, scope settings, wind calculations. Nothing connected." Luna nodded thoughtfully as she examined the rifles. Conditions were challenging. Temperature gradient creating thermal layers, wind gusting between 6 and 14 knots with direction shifts, atmospheric pressure dropping throughout the session. The Marines looked at her with surprise. Her assessment was more detailed than their own spotters had provided during the shooting session. "You monitor conditions for armory purposes?" Nakamura asked. "Part of maintaining equipment properly," Luna replied, not elaborating on why weapons storage required such detailed environmental monitoring. Vega studied Luna with new interest. Something about her casual analysis suggested knowledge that went beyond administrative requirements. "Luna, have you ever done any precision shooting yourself?" "I qualify annually with standard weapons," she answered. "Technically accurate, but avoiding specifics. I mean real long-range work. The kind of shooting we were attempting today." Luna paused in her weapon inspection. "I understand the theoretical aspects." "Theory and practice are different animals," Cruz observed. "Would you be interested in taking a shot at that 2 800-meter target, just to see how someone with your technical knowledge approaches the problem?" The suggestion caught everyone by surprise. Luna had been part of the base community for 8 years, yet none of them knew anything about her background beyond her current assignment. Her detailed understanding of shooting conditions suggested experience that her administrative role didn't reveal. "I wouldn't want to waste ammunition," Luna said diplomatically. "One shot," Vega pressed. "If you're willing to try, I'd be curious to see your approach to the problem." Luna finished her weapon inspection before responding. The Marines watched as she considered the proposition, weighing factors they couldn't guess. Finally, she nodded. "I'll need time to assess current conditions and make calculations," she said. The group returned to the range, where Luna spent 20 minutes observing wind patterns, checking atmospheric readings, and studying the distant target through spotting scopes. Her approach was systematic, more methodical than the Marines had employed during their attempts. "Different ammunition," she said, examining the match-grade rounds they had been using. "These are excellent for most applications, but at extreme range, consistency becomes more important than absolute performance." She selected specific cartridges from available ammunition, examining each round with precision that surprised the observers. Her choices seemed based on criteria the Marines didn't understand, but her examination process suggested extensive experience with ammunition selection. Barrel temperature is critical at this distance, Luna continued, checking the Barrett's barrel temperature with an infrared thermometer from her kit. This rifle has been fired extensively. Heat affects accuracy in ways that compound over extreme distances. She waited 25 minutes for complete barrel cooling, using time to make calculations in a well-worn notebook that appeared from her cargo pocket. The notebook contained pages of data, atmospheric readings, ballistic calculations, and technical notes that suggested practical rather than theoretical knowledge. When Luna finally positioned herself behind the Barrett, her setup was noticeably different from the Marines' approaches. Her body position was more precise, her scope adjustments more systematic. She made multiple small corrections, referencing her notebook and checking readings on instruments she had brought from the armory. "Conditions are stabilizing," she announced. "I need to time this for optimal atmospheric moment." The Marines watched through spotting scopes as Luna prepared her shot. Her breathing was controlled, her movements economical. She waited nearly 10 minutes, monitoring environmental indicators before settling into final shooting position. "Sending it," she said quietly. The Barrett's massive report echoed across the range, the .50 caliber round creating a pressure wave felt by observers 40 feet away. The rifle's recoil was substantial, but Luna absorbed it smoothly, maintaining her position to observe bullet impact. At 2,800 meters, bullet flight time was over 4 seconds. The observers waited tensely, tracking the projectile's path through spotting scopes and hoping to witness impact on the distant steel target that had defeated 8 experienced marksmen. "Direct hit," called the range officer, his voice filled with disbelief. "Dead center impact." The spotting scopes confirmed what seemed impossible. After hours of attempts by elite snipers, the Armory Clerk had connected on her first shot at a distance that had proven unconquerable. The steel target showed clear evidence of impact, the .50 caliber bullet having struck within inches of perfect center. The silence that followed was absolute. 8 Marines stared at Luna with expressions ranging from shock to awe. She calmly engaged the Barrett's safety and stood from the shooting position, her expression unchanged. "Good conditions, finally aligned," she said simply, beginning to disassemble the rifle as if commenting on routine rather than having achieved something extraordinary. Vega found his voice first. "Luna, where the hell did you learn to shoot like that?" "Various places," she replied, continuing her systematic breakdown of the Barrett. "That's not an answer," Nakamura said. "Nobody makes shots like that without serious professional training." Luna paused, considering how much to reveal. The Marines deserved some explanation, but her background contained elements that weren't appropriate for casual discussion. "I had some specialized training before transferring to logistics," she said finally. "What kind of specialized training?" Cruz pressed. "That shot was beyond professional level. That was exceptional by any standard." Luna resumed her work, her movements showing the same systematic competence she had demonstrated during the shot. "I worked with some specialized units before coming to Fort Carson." The vague answer only intensified curiosity. Vega studied Luna with new understanding, recognizing that her 8 years behind the armory counter had concealed capabilities none of them had suspected. "Specialized units," Vega repeated. "Are we talking about military sniper programs? Special operations training?" "Among other things," Luna confirmed without elaborating. Torres looked puzzled. "If you had that level of training, why are you working in the armory? Shooters with your skills get assigned to operational units." Luna finished packing the Barrett, her expression revealing nothing about whatever thoughts occupied her mind. "Sometimes circumstances dictate different paths," she said quietly. The answer carried implications that suggested personal history the Marines weren't cleared to understand. Professional shooters with Luna's demonstrated capabilities didn't typically end up in administrative positions unless factors beyond their control had intervened. "Medical issues?" Vega asked diplomatically. Luna glanced at him with what might have been approval for his discretion. "Something like that?" The pieces formed a picture that explained both Luna's exceptional shooting and her current assignment. Military snipers who suffered injuries preventing field deployment but not ending their careers often found support roles that utilized their knowledge while accommodating physical limitations. "How long since you've taken a shot like that?" Nakamura asked. "It's been a while," Luna admitted. "Skills can deteriorate without regular practice." "That didn't look deteriorated," Cruz observed. "That looked like muscle memory from extensive field experience." Luna shouldered the rifle case, preparing to return to the armory. Sometimes the fundamentals stick with you. As they walked back, the Marines processed what they had witnessed. Luna's impossible shot had revealed capabilities that completely transformed their understanding of the quiet woman who had been part of their routine for years without revealing her background. "Luna," Vega said as they reached the armory, "would you consider working with our training program? We could use someone with your expertise." Luna unlocked the armory door, considering the invitation. It represented opportunity to return to work that utilized her skills rather than simply managing equipment. "I'll think about it," she said. Word of Luna's remarkable shot spread through Fort Carson within hours. Marines who had dismissed the Armory Clerk as administrative personnel began viewing her with respect and curiosity. Her 8 years of quiet competence took on new meaning when viewed through demonstrated exceptional capability. The shot became legendary within the marksmanship community, discussed and analysed by precision shooters who understood the exceptional nature of what Luna had accomplished. But for Luna herself, it represented something more personal, a reminder of capabilities that injury and circumstance had forced her to set aside, but which remained intact despite years of administrative routine. Major General Patricia Coleman, the base commander, received a detailed report about the incident from Vega during their regular briefing session. Coleman had been following the Advanced Marksmanship Training Program closely, understanding its importance for preparing Marines for combat deployments where precision shooting could determine mission success or failure. "Tell me about this Armory Clerk," Coleman said, reviewing Vega's written report. "Staff Sergeant Luna Delacroix. 8 years of service, assigned to weapons storage and maintenance. Clean record, but no indication of specialized training in her standard file." "That's what makes it interesting, General," Vega replied. "Her personnel file shows standard military occupational specialty training, but her demonstrated capabilities suggest extensive specialized instruction. Nobody shoots like that without serious professional development." Coleman accessed Luna's classified service record through channels that revealed information beyond standard personnel files. What she found there explained everything while raising new questions about utilization of exceptional capabilities. "Sergeant, Delacroix has classification levels that require special clearance to access," Coleman said carefully. "Her background includes assignments that aren't reflected in her standard file. She's been significantly underutilized in her current position." Vega nodded, recognizing the implications. "Should I proceed with offering her a training position?" "Proceed, but understand that her acceptance would require security reviews and clearance updates. If she agrees to join the advanced program, we'll be utilizing capabilities that have been dormant for years." The following morning, Luna arrived at the armory to find Vega waiting outside the building before opening hours. His presence suggested conversation that couldn't wait for normal business interactions. "Luna, I talked to my chain of command about yesterday," Vega began. "They're very interested in your capabilities. The Advanced Marksmanship Program could use someone with your expertise, both as an instructor and as a technical consultant." Luna unlocked the armory door, processing the offer while beginning her morning routine. "I appreciate the consideration, but I'm not sure I'm suited for instructional duty." "With respect, that shot yesterday suggests otherwise. You demonstrated understanding of long-range ballistics that surpassed everyone present, including Marines with extensive combat experience." Luna began her daily inventory procedures, checking weapons storage and verifying security protocols. The routine provided familiar structure while she considered Vega's proposal and its implications for her carefully maintained separation from operational duties. "Gunny, I left operational work for reasons that haven't changed," she said finally. medical limitations that prevent field deployment still exist. This wouldn't be field work, Vega pressed. Training and instruction, technical development, helping other Marines develop capabilities that could save lives downrange. You could contribute without physical demands that might be problematic. The offer represented return to work that utilized her professional skills rather than simply managing equipment for others. Yet, acceptance would mean abandoning the anonymity that had protected her from questions about her background and circumstances that had ended her operational career. Over the following week, Luna found herself approached by Marines seeking advice about long-range shooting techniques, ballistic calculations, and equipment modifications. Her casual demonstration had established her as an expert resource, transforming her role from invisible support personnel to recognized authority on precision marksmanship. Lieutenant Colonel James Parker, commanding officer of the training unit, personally visited the Armory to discuss Vega's proposal. Parker had reviewed Luna's classified file and understood both her capabilities and the sensitivity surrounding her previous assignments. Sergeant Delacroix, your demonstrated expertise represents exactly what our program needs, Parker said during their private conversation. We're developing training protocols for extreme range precision shooting, and we need instructors who understand both technical and practical aspects of the discipline. Luna continued her weapon maintenance while considering Parker's words. Sir, my current assignment serves important functions. Weapons storage and maintenance aren't glamorous, but they're necessary. Necessary, yes, but not optimal utilization of your capabilities, Parker replied. The Marines you could train might face situations where precision shooting at extreme range determines mission success or failure. Your knowledge could save lives. The argument carried weight that Luna couldn't dismiss. Her technical expertise, developed through years of specialized training and field experience, represented capabilities that could benefit Marines facing combat deployments. Yet, acceptance would require acknowledging aspects of her background that she preferred to keep private. I'll need time to consider the offer, Luna said finally. Take the time you need, but understand that opportunities like this don't remain available indefinitely. The program needs experienced instructors, and your demonstrated capabilities make you uniquely qualified. 3 days later, Luna requested a meeting with Lieutenant Colonel Parker to discuss the training position. Her decision had been influenced by recognition that her expertise could serve purposes more important than personal comfort with anonymity. Sir, I'm interested in the instructional position, subject to certain conditions, Luna said during their meeting. What condition? Parker asked. My previous assignments remain classified and off-limits for discussion. Students can learn techniques and applications without knowing my operational background. My medical limitations require accommodation, but they don't prevent instruction and technical consultation. Parker nodded, understanding the sensitivity surrounding Luna's background. Those conditions are acceptable. When could you begin transitioning to the new position? I'll need 2 weeks to train my replacement and ensure Armory operations continue smoothly. After that, I'm available for whatever training responsibilities you assign. The Barrett .50 she had used was returned to its storage position, cleaned and inspected according to standard procedures. But the rifle that had enabled her impossible shot carried with it the memory of precision that few would ever match, handled by someone whose quiet competence had concealed a level of marksmanship that belonged in operational rather than support assignments. Luna Delacroix was transitioning from Armory Clerk to Advanced Marksmanship Instructor, her single shot at 2,800 meters having revealed capabilities that would now serve to train the next generation of Marine precision shooters. Her 8 years behind the counter had ended, but her contributions to military readiness were just beginning.